Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission, as always, is to take sources that look simple, maybe even everyday sources, and really dig down.
See what's underneath, right? Find those core lessons about systems, how things work, how we adapt.
Exactly. And today, we got a really fun one. It's a children's story. Benny the Blinking Bat.
Yes, sounds light, I know. But honestly, this little story, it's a brilliant illustration of system failure, redundancy, and why outliers matter.
Absolutely. We're going to analyze it to see how narrative teaches science, but also, and this is key for you listening.
How something seen as a weakness, maybe even a flaw, can suddenly become vital when the situation changes.
Okay, so let's dive into Maplewood Forest. We meet Benny, and right away, he's different.
All the other bats navigate the usual way, the, species standard way. But Benny,
He blinks a lot. These big round eyes, just blinking away.
and that's the core conflict, isn't it? It immediately creates friction with the norm, with the status quo.
Yeah, the story even gives us Cousin Betty to represent that. She points out, maybe a bit smugly, bats don't blink.
It's like, that's just biology 101, Benny. What are you doing?
But Benny's response is great. He's not defensive. He just says, I'm just different. He owns it.
He does. It's a quiet acceptance. But okay, before we get to why his difference matters, we need to understand the conventional system.
Right, the baseline science. The story makes it clear. Bats normally use echolocation. That's how they see in the dark.
And it's not just mentioned offhand. The story really explains it, calls it a sound map. It emphasizes that this is a sophisticated, reliable system.
The whole community depends on it. It's like,
Yeah,
it's the established tech that's always worked, so why question it?
exactly. It's the legacy system everyone trusts.
So, perfect system, everyone uses it, totally reliable. What could possibly go wrong? What's the stress test here?
Well, the story raises the stakes. The bats aren't just flying around, they're prepping for the great bug feast.
Ah, the main event, catching those crunchy crickets and juicy fireflies.
All right, this isn't casual. It's about resources, survival. You need precision navigation for this.
And that's when the disruption occurs. Not an internal glitch, but something external.
The environment changes drastically. The forest suddenly becomes super foggy.
Okay, fog. Why is that such a killer for echolocation?
Well, think about it. Fog isn't just visual obscurity, it's acoustically dense. Those sound waves bats send out, they're supposed to hit a cricket, bounce back clean.
Yeah, give a clear signal.
But in thick fog, the sound hits countless tiny water droplets. It scatters. The story says it perfectly. The sound was bouncing everywhere.
So the sound map becomes useless noise. It's not just failing, it's feeding them bad data, right?
Precisely. It's chaos. False positives, echoes that lead nowhere. It's a fantastic way to show system vulnerability.
When you rely solely on one input type, like sound waves.
You're incredibly fragile if the medium itself changes. Change the air density or clutter it up and boom, your tech is toast.
And the result? Panic. Total community-wide confusion.
Everyone's trying to use the broken system, trying to listen harder through the noise.
Shouting, help! We can't tell where the bugs are. The very system they trusted is now betraying them.
It's a classic problem. Organizational inertia. They're so wired to listen, they can't easily switch sensory modes.
They're stuck trying the old way, even when it's clearly failing.
Which sets the stage perfectly for Benny. Crisis. System failure. The community needs a new way.
And suddenly, Benny's weird habit isn't so weird anymore.
Exactly. His blinking. Those big eyes that made him different. Turns out, they're the only thing that works now.
Well, the sound is just noise. Benny can actually see faint glows through the fog.
The fireflies, the targets themselves become the navigational aids, visual beacons instead of acoustic signals.
It's an amazing turnaround.
Yeah.
His supposed flaw is now the only working sensor. But seeing isn't enough, is it? He needs to lead the others.
Right. Hundreds of panicked bats still trying to listen. This is where it shifts from just Benny's adaptation to social adaptation. He needs a communication system.
A visual one. For bats, that's a huge leap.
He has to create a new protocol on the fly. He swoops down and introduces the blink code.
And the beauty is its simplicity, right? Has to be simple in a crisis.
Absolutely. 1 blink, turn left. 2 blinks, turn right. 3 blinks, go up.
Super clear. No sound needed. No complex interpretation. Just watch the leader.
But think about how hard that must be for the bats. Like you said, they're wired for sound, for that ping echo response.
Yeah, their whole brain is built around it.
Now they have to consciously ignore the confusing sounds
Yeah.
and focus only on this weird blinking from the guy they may be used to ignore.
That's a massive cognitive shift. It requires breaking a deeply ingrained habit, instantly under pressure.
And that's where Benny's leadership comes in. He's not just showing, he's forcing them to trust a sense they probably dismissed.
Stop listening. Start watching. It's a tough sell for any established group, even when the old way is failing miserably.
But they do it, they manage the shift, and the result is immediate.
They follow him like a blinking, swooping parade through the trees. It's such a great image.
From chaos to coordinated movement, just by switching the sensory input and trusting the outlier.
And they reach the goal. The glowiest bug patch in the forest. The great bug feast is saved.
Not by fixing the old system, but by abandoning it for something completely different.
Okay, let's unpack the lessons here. Because the story isn't subtle, but there are layers.
Definitely. There's the clear life lesson first. The bats learn being different can be a strength.
And that your uniqueness might be exactly what others need. It's a solid message about diversity, valuing differences.
Very positive, very direct. But the deeper layer, the one relevant to systems thinking.
It was about redundancy and adaptation.
Right.
The story doesn't dismiss echolocation, it reinforces it as the norm.
Yes, it even has that interactive bit, make an echo sound, ping. It validates the standard tech.
It says, look, echolocation is usually great, it's the sound map.
But it's not foolproof, and that's where Benny comes in. The story celebrates the standard and the exception needed in a crisis.
So the most robust system isn't one that's just really good at one thing.
Exactly. It's one that has multiple fundamentally different ways of operating, auditory mapping and visual signaling.
So the flock's real strength wasn't just echolocation proficiency, which worked 99% of the time.
It was having Benny, having that backup modality, that completely separate system using light instead of sound, ready for that 1% situation, the super fog.
The ability to switch saved them. Not optimizing the old way, but pivoting to a totally different one that was already there, just overlooked.
Maybe even ridiculed before.
Which brings us to the listener, to you. When we think about adapting, we often think about improving what we already do, getting better at our echolocation.
But Benny's story suggests real resilience might come from having a completely different sense ready. What happens when your main tool is suddenly useless?
What's the super fog in your world? Your job, your industry, is it a market shift, a tech disruption, maybe a policy change?
Something that makes the air thick, metaphorically speaking, and scrambles your usual signals?
When that happens, everyone around you might just be trying to listen harder, trying to make the old system work.
Straining to hear those echoes that aren't coming back right.
And that's the moment for the Benny in the room.
Yeah.
The unconventional approach, the skill no one valued before.
Suddenly, it's not just useful, it's critical. It validates the standard approach, yeah, but only up to the point where the environment fundamentally changes.
So Benny's blinking. Ridiculed, maybe? Seen as just different. But it saved the day when the trusted method failed.
He wasn't better at the old game, he was playing a different game entirely. A game that suddenly became the only game that mattered.
It really underlines the value of keeping diverse skills and approaches alive in any system, even if they aren't used often.
That latent capacity for a radical shift.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on Benny the Blinking Bat, we want to leave you with a final thought. It builds on this idea of capability, weakness, and adapting under pressure.
Think about yourself, your own skills, your own traits. Benny's blinking was seen as biologically wrong, a weakness. But it became a strength only when the rules changed, when the fog rolled in.
So what skills or qualities do you have that maybe don't fit the current mold? Things you downplay because they aren't valued right now in this environment.
Are they really weaknesses? Or are they maybe just dormant capabilities? Skills waiting for their own super fog, waiting for the moment when the standard sound map fails.
What happens when that fog rolls in for you or your team? What unconventional blinking might suddenly become the most valuable asset you have? Something to think about.